All right, back for another rant of the guru. I'm heading into work and wanted to rant a little bit about something that occurred today. I'll put a light on so you guys can see my face. I don't know if you can or not. So, of course, we're squatting again today. It was great. We did a superset where we would do 3 reps on a squat, on a low bar squat, immediately followed by 3 reps on the trap bar to really get the quads strong and to get the posterior chain really strong. So we started off with 135 on the bar for the squats, and we started with 205 on the trap bar. And then the trap bar, we did it for 5 reps. So, and then we went up to 185 on the low bar squat, and again 205 on the trap bar immediately. And then we went up to 225 on the low bar squat, and we followed it up immediately with 225 on the trap bar, as many as we could. And then we went back down to 135, and we did as many reps as possible with both. And then anyhow, we followed that up. We did 3 Kong squats at 135, followed by 3 regular squats, and then we went immediately into the trap bar and blew up the quads as much as possible. After that, my students and I, we trained a little bit of Harimau playing, Harimau Select or Harimau Minangkabau. And what we did was we did this drill where we move on the ground, working evasion and movement back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So I posted up the video on Instagram, and I got immediately a bunch of people saying, hey, you're lying, that's capoeira. Or, hey, that looks like slow motion capoeira. Well, I'm going to rant about that and give you a little bit of a historical understanding that was explained to me by my teachers. The African people, the Kush people, were trading with the Minangkabau people of Sumatra for 2,000 years prior to the white man ever entering the South Pacific. So the African already had trades set up with Minangkabau region people. I am sure that at some point there was some cross-pollination of martial ideas and training ideas, because if you look at the Indian or the native person of Sumatra and Indonesia, they have a dark skin. They're a little darker than the often seen paler skin Asian. In fact, if you look at Indonesian and Malaysian people, or Malay people, they have a little bit of a darker skin, much similar like the Latino, or we really shouldn't say Latino, but the Taino, native South American and native Caribbean man. It's very similar. The other thing too, there's certain islands in the South Pacific where the natives have curly hair. So that's kind of interesting too. So my feeling is, and based on my historic research, Harimau Minangkabau, the kuda, the postures, a lot of them were painted in caves dating back about 4,000 to 5,000 years. Even though the system per se, at least the lineage that we follow under Mahaguru Richard Crab de Boards and Pendekar Hanafi, that lineage goes back to about the 1400s. But I'm sure the native man in Sumatra was doing Pencak Silat Harimau. Maybe he didn't call it Harimau. Select was probably what he called it. He was probably doing this way before Hinduism, Buddhism, and Islam arrived to Indonesia. Now, that being said, there's an interesting thing, because yes, there are movements that are similar to the Angola capoeira. If you look at Harimau Minangkabau play, it looks similar to Angola capoeira, very similar. Maybe the strategies are a little different, but some of the postures are similar, and some of the movement might be similar. You have certain sweeps that are similar, certain kicks that are similar. Anyhow, I've never studied capoeira, but I have friends that study it. I have an uncle that trained it, and he sat in our classes several times, and he said that it was very similar to the Angola capoeira that he studied, and very similar roots. So I think it would be very interesting to do a historic comparison of capoeira and Harimau Minangkabau. I know that there was a time when a good friend of mine, Mestre Dennis Newsom, if you don't know who he is, he's a bad guy. Good bad guy. Bad as in good. He's a badass. A badass capoeira mestre. He's one of the best capoeira teachers I've ever seen. Him and Guru Cliff Stewart, they did a article for Black Belt magazine, I think it was, or Kung Fu magazine, where they compared capoeira with pencak silat. Side-by-side pictures and side-by-side explanation of applications, and they were very, very similar. And if you look at things like 52 blocks looks a lot like the stuff that's inside of Pukalan, and a lot of the same kind of motions. So my feeling is there was definitely some cross-pollination between the old ancient African cultures and the old Indonesian cultures. I know I was made fun of by the morons on silattv.com when I said to them, you have pyramids in Africa, and you have pyramids in Indonesia, you have pyramids in South America. It is my belief that these people all had the same science, including the same martial sciences. If you look at the pyramids in Mexico, they look very similar to the step pyramids in Iraq and the step pyramids in Africa, and they look very similar to the step pyramids in Indonesia. It's just a coincidence. The idiots, let's say, on Silat TV who denounced what I was saying didn't have the gray matter to actually do the research to look at things, instead of seeing the separation of things, looking at how things are actually interrelated. It is no doubt historically that the Kush people of Africa were doing trade with the people of Madagascar and the people of India and the people of southern Thailand and the people of the Philippines, the people of Indonesia and the people of Sumatra. Okay? Very, very similar cultures. In fact, some of the dressing is similar. The sarong, people in ancient Egypt were wearing sarong-like material. If you look at, also here's another thing too. I don't know if you know this, but in Guyana, in South America, there next to Venezuela, there is a land there which is full of native people also from Holland, and a lot of Indonesians and Dutch Indonesian people and Africans. They migrated there and they set up their own country there, Guyana, right? There's a lot of pencak silat there. In fact, after World War II, many Dutch Indos migrated to that area in Guyana. So there's a cross-pollination going on. It's been going on. Mankind has always been evolving from each other. And I think that we probably had tribes that shared knowledge and information with each other at some point. Anyhow, back to the whole idea of Harimau Minangkabau. I also believe that in Harimau Minangkabau, especially with some of the standing postures, you see similar things to combative old school military Muay Thai or old Muay Thai, which is Ramui, I believe the name. It's very similar. So I believe that the Sumatran people were also trading with the people of Siam, the ancient people of Siam. In fact, the Siam have a style called the cat. And the cat style is very much similar to Simachan in Java and Harimau Minangkabau in the Sumatran region. Anyhow, I hope you like this rant. I have to go to work now and earn my keep. Thank you and take care.